time for the bell. How many options will you sell? Fire up your platform, get ready to enter. But first, let's get the mindset centered. Hey, let's go. We're not here to gamble, we're here to trade. We follow the plan, that's how we get paid. Testing, trading, have success. Find what works for you and forget the rest. Stats and probabilities is what we're about. Time to dismiss greed and doubt. Focus on the process, not the money. And the profits will flow like honey. Power Hour Live, let's start the show. Come on, trade hackers, get ready to go. 0-day options, time to make bank. Get locked and loaded, then be ready to blank. Hey!
Hey everyone, welcome to Power Hour Live, Monday, January 12th. S&P is up 14, NASDAQ up 57, Russell's up 9, and the Dow is up 40. Strongest would be Russell, up about 1/3%, but all just kind of right around 1/4 to 1/3 higher after a pretty decent gap down this morning. Gold is up 2.5%. Silver's up 7.5%. Both hit new all-time highs. Notes and bonds a little bit red. 10-year yield up about 1/3%. Oil up 0.5%. Natural gas up almost 7%. Soybeans, wheat, and corn all finished red. Corn took a big poop, down about 5.5%. Apparently, a production report came out that they were going to have over 17 billion bushels, which is a lot. So the supply is outdoing the demand. So big drop in corn. Euro's up 1/3%. Pound about the same. Bitcoin's up almost 2%. And the VIX is still staying bid from Friday, up 4%, currently at 15.07. As far as my trades today, BIX, a little bit green. As you can imagine from the price action, all call sides stopped, all put sides unstopped. So that's where those stand. Need to stay up. I don't want price getting frisky to the downside. Looks like 75 puts are my highest, and then I got some at 70. So if we could stay above 75, I would have a green BIC day. I did a 3-4 put calendar, which is currently up 2%. It was up as much as 6 or 7 earlier, and then this continued up move kind of turned into a scratch, and now it's basically still a scratch. Day trading, I was red. I like the trades I took. They had really good relative strength at the time I took them. Hang on a second, let me pull that over. For some reason, my TradeZilla just got logged out. Yeah, so about minus 2,800 on my day trades. Took a trade in MU. Was my took a trade in MU. That was my first one, and I went in pretty small, and then I added to it, but ended up taking a loss. And then Netflix was my next one. Then I tried a re-entry in MU, just never had any continuation at all to the upside. So took a loss on the day trades. 2 Elmos, hit 2 Elmo profits. One was plus 280 and one was plus 420, so plus 700 on Elmos. I did not do a 1 DTE because tomorrow's CPI. So typically you don't get very much decay, although Dark Avenger, are you on here? How'd your... you had a pretty decent move up too, so probably not great. But Dark Avenger said he was getting some decent decay early, but I did not take one. By the way, guys, I always post what I'm taking in the today's plan channel. It was up at the top of the channels. I moved it down into the right above the live stream schedule now. So I always post what I'm doing there. S&P dipping a little bit below previous day high now. Russell almost got up to all-time highs. S&P hit a new all-time high. QQQ is not quite there. I did have a long put vertical modeled up when price was kind of trading near its highs, just because I liked the risk reward. I didn't end up pulling the trigger on it, but on a 3-lot, I had a max risk of 375 and a max profit of 26.25. It's already up. It would be up over 500 now with this little dip. I did not take it, so it doesn't really matter, but it's the thought that counts, right? Isn't it the thought that counts in trading? What else? I don't think I did anything else other than what I mentioned. So as I mentioned, we've got CPI tomorrow pre-market. Wednesday, we have PPI pre-market along with retail sales. And Wednesday is Opinion Day, where the Supreme Court is supposedly going to give us an announcement around the Trump tariffs. Thursday, unemployment claims, pre-market. Friday, nothing. So those are the scheduled events for the week. We do have a couple earnings. I'm not going to take anything. We've got CPI in the morning. That's enough. That's enough action for me. But JP Morgan and Delta would be the tradable ones that announce pre-market tomorrow. So those would need to go on today if you're going to take anything. Happy to model up anything on those if anyone's interested. Wednesday before the market is Wells Fargo and Citi and Bank of America. Thursday, it says TSM, but I saw another source that said TSM was the following Thursday, so I'm not sure if that's correct or not. But also, Thursday pre-market, Morgan Stanley, Goldman, and BlackRock. Oh yeah, that is the other thing I did was rolled my silver puts in the wheel. Yeah, so obviously the wheel is a bullish strategy, and today is a bullish day. So that typically tends to work out well. Here's my wheel portfolio. Hood, short puts in the green, Bitcoin covered call in the green. Nebius is up 10%. Those short puts are in the green. Or no, that's a covered call, sorry. Rivian is a little bit red today, but the puts are still slightly green. Silver, I mentioned, I rolled the puts in silver from the 65 put up to the 72, so that's pretty close to where I did it. And then UNG had a big dip last week, so it's still in the red, but it's up 7.5% today, so it came back a little bit. And so, yeah, I had a couple questions. Moel, are you on here? Don't see Moel. But yeah, once I get to over 50% of credit received, whether it's on the covered call or on the short puts, I'll be rolling those. Also, I'm staying in the monthly cycle. So that was a question Moel had, but you know, he was wondering, okay, why didn't you roll it? So I rolled it in the same cycle, the Feb 20 with 39 days. My DTEs that I'll be using for this are between 30 and 60, and I'm only using the monthlies. You know, if you look at like let me open up some more options here. I mean, you'd probably be fine using the weeklies, but in some of these, you're going to see liquidity significantly worse. So, for example, I'm using the 72 strike on my silver. Moel was asking why not roll out in time to get a little bit more credit. You certainly could, but if you look at, you know, the volume, for example, on the 72 strike, it's traded over 1,600 contracts, where if you go to the 72 strike a week later in the weeklies, it's only traded 14. So definitely a difference in liquidity. Again, I'm not doing much size here, so using the weeklies is probably fine. But part of it for me is just simplicity. You know, this is kind of really a low maintenance type portfolio strategy. So just sticking with the monthlies on my end. So that was SLV, and then, oh yeah, UNG I mentioned. So I locked in, so realized profit on the SLV, I think I booked $382. Realized profit on those two silver contracts, and then current open profits a little over 1,000. So the wheel is rolling today. S&P kind of pausing at previous day high. Contact, are you talking to me? I'm on Thinkorswim. Which is Schwab. I was looking at the Schwab. I was looking at the Mahomes butterflies earlier, and they're already up to like $1.40. Sitting around 69.80 right now. $69.80 fly is about $1.60-ish. And we've got about 30 minutes until the bell. I need SPX to hold its head up above 75, preferably. For my BIC's sake. You know, with the market just grinding higher all day, obviously the VIX is contracting as well, but really kind of basing out here above 15. It's like it wants to contract more with this move up. But we are at all-time highs, so you'll start to see some volatility stay bid for that. But also, I think they're trying to keep a little premium in for the CPI and Opinion Day. But pretty tough selling premium, unless you got a, you know, I did two Elmos this morning. One in this little batch of consolidation, one in this little batch of consolidation. And that really looks like the only good time to enter, both from a price action and a premium standpoint. Lando, did you do any good directional trading? Anybody? Krish, did you do any directionals today? Watson doesn't look like he's on here. There was an announcement that Apple has decided to use Google for its AI. I don't know if that was announced this morning when that Google had that little spike or what. When I saw it, nothing. I didn't see any movement, but nice, Dave S. Green is green. Nice medfly. Yeah, Tesla was one that had some good relative strength and actually made a couple of extensions. MU was the one I took a couple times, had really good relative strength and right at all-time highs. It hit a new all-time high to start and then pulled back, but then just did absolutely nothing. Kind of got chopped up on that one. And then the other one was Netflix. Netflix had some good relative strength. Looked like it was going to make another push. I got in right here at that about 9:05 Central. Started to push up to highs, but never could push through, and then just kind of fell apart after that. Didn't really do much. S&P looking like it wants to hold above previous day high. Did you take a long in oil, Dave S? It's up a little bit today. Got about 25 minutes till the bell. Elliot, you have any call sides survive? On your Bix? $80 butterfly trading for about $1.70. So I'll definitely go in with a Mahomes scalp. If we get to $2 before MOC, I'll scalp half and let the other half go. Typically, we get some decent price movement for day trading on a CPI day, but we've also got Wednesday working against us where the market may be just kind of in wait-and-see mode on the Supreme Court deal. We'll see. Meta just kind of choppy. It's dipping down to lows of day. Apple was weak early, but it bounced back up. Kind of near its highs. Biggest movers on my watch list are CoreWeave is up 14%. That thing just kind of took off and still going. CoreWeave's not a great trading vehicle though. It's a bit bid asks are kind of wide. Fine for a swing, but trying to get in and out on a day trade's not great. Nebius is up almost 11, I mentioned. Baba is up 10.5. Little Baba bounce. Lemonade's up 7. A-Lab up 6. Baidu up 6. Maybe China thinks they're not getting tariffs. Walmart's up 3.5. AMD's up 2.5. Hood's up 2.5. Affirm is down 7%. You know, we had that report from, or the post, I guess, from Trump that he's going to try to cap credit cards at 10%. I kind of thought these buy now, pay later might benefit. Affirm gapped up on the news and then all downhill, down 7.5%. QCOM down 4%. Klarna, another buy now, pay later, down 3.5%, kind of similar, gapped up and then sold off. Big banks, which I assumed would have some downside on the news. I mean, they gapped down, but Goldman has rallied all day. It's actually up over 1%. JP Morgan's down 1.6. Bank of America's down 1.4. Goldman's not as heavy in the credit card business, I guess. Actually, I meant to look. Visa. Visa's down 1.4, but well off of its lows. So S&P is kind of sitting here, but VIX is kind of creeping higher. A little over 20 minutes till the bell. Krish breaking out his crystal ball, making predictions again. Okay, so Citi is down 3.3. JP Morgan, I mentioned, down 1.6. And then Capital One, what's that, COF, I think? Yeah. Capital One is down the biggest. It's down 7%. So they know likey. They know likey that news. Yeah, exactly. Capital One's really more the biggest part of their revenue is that, whereas JP Morgan, they're so big, they got so many other things going. Goldman, the least exposure. Yeah, that whole Goldman-Apple relationship, that didn't work out too well. SPX dipping down to 77. I don't. Well, first of all, I think that was Goldman didn't really know what they were doing on the credit card side, and then Apple was asking for way too much. And I'm just saying this. I remember hearing a pretty in-depth podcast episode about it. So eventually, Goldman just had to kind of write it off. They had to write. It was a big write-off for them. They had to write it off and let it go. Yeah. I mean, it didn't. It was not favorable for Goldman financially. $80 Fly is trading for about $1.80. Yeah, I think Apple got the better end of that deal. Sounded like. Moel, were you on here? I don't think you were on here. I was explaining the why I was using the monthlies on the wheel. Did you just get on? All right, let me jump back on there real quick before MOC. So I'm not trading with a lot of size, so going into the weeklies is probably not that big of a deal, but I'm using the monthlies for a couple of reasons. One, just to keep things simple. I'm trying to make this a pretty low activity portfolio from my perspective. So that's one reason I'm just sticking with the monthlies. And then the other reason is liquidity. Like I said, I'm not doing a lot of size, so it's probably not a big deal too much. But if you look like the 72 strike is the one that I moved into. If you look at the 72 strike in the monthlies, the 39 DTE, the one I use, look at the volume. You've got over 1,600 contracts, where if you go a week later, same strike, 72, you've got 14 contracts traded. Bid ask is still fairly tight. So like I said, it's, if you want to do that, not a big deal, but just from my mechanics of the way that I'll be managing it, I'm just going to stick with the monthlies between 30 and 60. Oh yeah, that little dip probably helped your Woogas, didn't it? And then if you look at the other one I was going to show you, is like if you look at like Nebius, for example, it's another one I have. If you look at these strikes, you've got hundreds of contracts trading at most of these strikes, kind of near the money or just out of the money. If you go a week later on those, there's almost none. So if you're in super liquid stuff, not a big deal, but if you're not, when you get that far, and that volume and open interest will come in once you get into as you get closer and closer to expiration. But when you're going that far out, sometimes there are some liquidity issues. Russell is popping back up, trying to get to previous day high, which is also all-time highs. Looks like the 80 fly is getting close to $1.90. I'm going to put my order in at $2. On the 69.80 call fly. I do need to close the 3-4. Thank you. Filled at $2 even. $2. No, that was something else. Filled at $4.50. So a little scratch win. I got filled at $2 on the Mahomes fly. All right, SPX, little bounce. Right up to 80. So I'm going to put an order to close 5 of 10. I'm going to go ahead and put in $1.40 for now. Looks like that fly is trading for $2.30 now on that little bounce. Yeah, Thinkorswim contact from Schwab. Oh, I got to turn on my juice. I need to turn on my juice. I've got 30 seconds. 30 seconds till MOC.
Ten seconds. Market on close imbalance. S&P 500 sell side 400 million, Nasdaq 100 sell side 781 million, Dow 30 sell side 529 million, Mag 7 sell side 760 million.
Sell side 400 million. Small sell side. My scalp looks like it's getting filled. Should be. Nope. Didn't hit it.
In 10 minutes time we have the South Korean import price year on year. Prior.
It's enough for you, juice. I needed a little bit more of a dip, although I'd prefer to the upside. Back up to 78. $79. Let's just push on up to new all-time highs. New high of day. Not ideal conditions for Mr. Mahomes. Although our range has been outside of the expected range. Meta dumping. What else is new? Meta loves to dump lately. Sure is. Amazon down to lows. Microsoft rolling over as well. NASDAQ dipping, but S&P not dipping too much. SPX back up above 80. Banks getting a little bounce. Chips not doing a whole lot. SPX up to 81. $82. Keep her coming. Keep on a coming. $83 would be my break even. But 85 would be what I'm looking for. Had some good playoff football games this weekend. Did you guys watch any football? A lot of good ones. A lot of close games. More of a basketball guy. Do the OCO orders not work, Toby? Or is it the operator? If you can post a screenshot, might be able to see what you're doing wrong. SPX back to 80. Yeah, you're doing something wrong then. Back to 79. All right, if we go down, I need below 77. Ooh, the Jets-Mets fan combo. That's tough. All right, we got 4 minutes to go, SPX. Need a move away from 80. Make a decision. Make your move. Microsoft dumping. Oh, were you? I was at that game. Or I was at all those games too. All right, below 78. I heard that it was cheaper for people to fly and get a hotel and game tickets in Kansas City for the Mets Royals World Series than it was to watch the games in New York when they were there. I heard that from a couple Mets fans. All right, less than 3 minutes. Need a little push below 77. Still sitting at 78. Netflix going red. Got some big tech acting weak. Google's pushing up. Intel coming down towards lows. 2 minutes. Yeah, the mags are dropping. SMH is dropping. S&P dipping below 77. A 75 pin would be ideal. That would save my BIC puts and max out my homes. One minute to go. Still haven't hit my scalp yet either. Don't go bouncing on me. Back above 78, back to 79. 30 seconds. Gonna give it another shot down into the 77s. Ten seconds. Little puke. Give it a little puke. A little puke into the close.
Order cancelled. Order cancelled.
Little
Order
loser.
cancelled.
Almost a scratch. 69.77.28. 69.77.28. So little scratch loss. Day trading loser for me. Bix winner. Elmo winners. Wheel winners. Just Monday. Meh Monday. CPI tomorrow morning, though. Hopefully that shakes some things up. Everybody have a good night. I'll be streaming live in the morning after CPI for day trading right at the market open. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. Cheers.